when you give, you actually receive. It's a beautiful Jewish concept. The word for give in Hebrew is natan, spelled Natan, and the word spelled forward is the same as backwards. So when you give, you actually receive, but you have to give from a place of fully giving, not looking for what you're going to receive. And I truly believe that if we all live that way, then the world will be such a better place. Welcome to You're Allowed to Hate Your Husband, a modern day love story. I am Remy Stern. I'm a relationship coach, and we are going to talk all things relationships, from being single to dating to being engaged, married. Who you marry is the most important decision you will ever make.
If you're looking for a wife, which is a beautiful thing to do, the best thing to do is to choose wisely.
If you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Everybody else has it right. Then you are in the right place, because trust me, nobody knows what they're doing. I'm so excited. Please hop right in, listen to this episode, listen to this series, and we are so excited that you are joining us here. Today's episode is a solo episode with me where I give you guys some of the most life-changing advice from actually my grandparents, specifically one grandfather who just passed away, but thank God lived a life until almost 104. He was the most inspirational man and lived every day to the fullest with joy, and how he really built what he built and kept himself going and acted as if he was 30 years old by the time he was 104. And he gave us such incredible life-changing advice that I thought I would honor him by sharing it with you guys today. Everything from how to live each day really to the fullest with joy, and how to attract miracles in your life, and how to give to the world, and so many amazing things that my grandpa and my grandparents in general, these amazing, wise people in our lives, we probably don't learn from nearly enough, but we should. So I give you guys everything that he has kind of taught me, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a very special episode to me. It's short, it's quick, and it's everything packed into one, so please go enjoy. If you didn't notice, last week we actually did not air an episode. It's our first time skipping a week, and I'm so sorry. It was so painful for me not to release an episode for you guys last week, but we are supposed to have this interview with somebody who I am so excited to share with you guys. And it's one of those things that you plan and you're excited, and all of a sudden life happens and your plans go away. And someone once told me, it's man plans, God laughs. But it's really man plans and God plans better. So there's a better plan. So no, I did not want to skip a week last week of having no episodes for you guys. But the episode that is coming, that was supposed to be last week, is going to be amazing. So for this week's episode, I just came back from a trip celebrating a man who lived 104 years of life. That's such a miracle if you think of it. And he, thank God, right up until the end, lived a good quality life. He could run around. His brain was the sharpest brain that you could imagine. He literally had a calculator as a brain, a history book. It was unbelievable. You could ask him any question and he knew the answers. And just really a spectacular guy. People flew from everywhere to celebrate him. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to honor him by teaching some of the lessons that him, as well as my grandparents, because grandparents are very, very wise. So to be able to learn from people who have been around a little bit longer than we all have, and God willing, we will follow in their footsteps and be around for a long, long time. So important to share their wisdom, their knowledge, their stories, all of that. So I decided that today I want to share with you things that my grandpa and grandparents have taught me. So thank you for being here today with me on this episode. It's a little bit of a different one. And my grandpa kind of had three main pillars in his life. And I really think it's what led him to live as long as he did and with the quality that he did. And the first one that he always instilled in my family, and these are kind of running jokes in our family because he nonstop talked about it. It was like if he could have a poster of things in life, there were three things. The first one was education and just constantly, constantly, constantly learning. He was 104 almost, and he still learned every single day. Like his biggest mission was to learn something new every single day. And I think, we go to school for so many years and we're learning. The honest truth, I don't know about you, but for me, I was always like, I actually loved school, but in the moment it was like, oh, I don't want to go to class and have to learn this, right? Like we saw it as a chore, a lot of people do, when it is such a blessing to be able to expand your knowledge, your horizons in life. And it is such a shame that too often we stop learning and stop growing. And we see that as kind of a childhood thing that you get to go to school, learn, grow, post college. Okay, now it's time to work and contribute. But actually, something that I learned also within Judaism is the importance of constantly learning. And within the framework of Judaism, which has been such a big part of my spiritual growth and my growth in general, is in the context of learning. So, sitting down with somebody who can teach me something that I do not already know, which is a lot, a lot of things. There's so much to learn in life. And for me personally, following the things that excite you, obviously, I love spirituality and growth and self help and all of those facets. I also love learning about business. I also love learning about, family building and home and all of that good stuff and health. It's so interesting to learn about health. If you're somebody who politics is interesting to you, or, the policies within politics are, there's so many ways, even just history, or like there's so many ways that you can really expand your horizons. And there's so many resources. If it's books, podcasts, there's so much out there. My grandpa was always reading. You know, it's like the cute without the newspaper and read what's going on that week, but he was in constant learning. For him, actually, I would say the biggest place of growth and learning beside reading and watching television and all of that would be through conversations, and not only just any conversation, but ones with people that had different upbringings and viewpoints to him. So it's so easy to go around and like be in the same group of people and learn the same type of things and kind of validate what we already somewhat know and just expand it a little bit. But the harder thing to do, and what my grandpa was like outstanding at, was having conversations with people who were completely different than him. And it was a lifelong thing that he did, was go find people from different cultures, different political situations, different religions, complete different backgrounds, and just ask questions. He's the type of man that wanted to be more quiet and take more things in rather than speak and teach. Although, teaching as well what you're learning also has a lot of value within learning because it gets to stick more when you teach it to others. But he was of the belief that listening is far more powerful than speaking. So for my grandpa, just putting it out there that this constant journey of learning, growing, challenging yourself, maybe even in our own beliefs, asking ourselves if we're 100% certain that we are right. Just being like, maybe there are other ways of thinking, keeping an open mind. He loved to say, keep an open mind. So, keeping an open mind, learning, growing, and putting yourself into places that aren't the typical usual for you, somewhere that's different. Just a thought on my grandpa's. The second thing that my grandpa was super adamant about, and this started from his childhood, which I'll tell you in a second, but was constantly giving to others. And I know it seems maybe a little cheesy, but it was his greatest mission was to give to the world and to people specifically who had less than he had and people who, needed. And it started from his childhood. He was born right in the heart of the Great Depression in Cleveland, Ohio, into a very poor family. And although they could not feed themselves all of the time, we're so lucky, a lot of us, that food is, almost a given to us. But in the time that my grandpa was raised, it wasn't. If they didn't make the money that week, there was no money to buy food. But no matter what, I have the chills saying this, they would go out and give bread and food to people who needed it more. And obviously, I'm getting emotional because he was the cutest guy ever. But my grandma, or sorry, my great grandma, so his mom, kept this piece of paper, they would say, of all of the people or organizations that every single year she would donate something to, or it might even be every single month. No, I think it was every single year. And it would be as low as like $5, $20 because they didn't have much, and people will always be like, I will give money once I have money. Trust me, you're never going to have enough to give away. But you can also never have too little to give away. So he really taught me, and thank God our family and so many people around him, the value of giving and really focusing your mission on making the world a better place. Like my grandpa really tried and did. That's the really cool thing is he succeeded in so many amazing ways in making the world a better place. Whether it was like he was very into medical and education and all of these places, but he did it without the ego of I did this. He would donate things and wouldn't tell anyone. That was the way that he would do it. So it really, and I tell you this from the bottom of my heart, was not from a place of I need to show other people or even show myself that I gave this, that ego driven place. It was from a place of I want to make the world a better place. Period. That's it. It was his whole life mission. Make the world a better place, give to other people. And in my own studies, in how I've learned and how I've grown in my own way, is that when you give, you actually receive. It's a beautiful Jewish concept. The word for give in Hebrew is natan, spelled Natan, and the word spelled forward is the same as backwards. So when you give, you actually receive, but you have to give from a place of fully giving, not looking for what you're going to receive. And I truly believe that if we all live that way, then the world will be such a better place. And this starts, by the way, it's great to do it for people who need, but this starts even in the home with family. Like being in the state of giving automatically makes the world a better place. And let's say just for marriage, because relationships is a huge topic here. If both you and your partner are constantly giving to the other person, imagine how much you will receive, right? As the other partner. The other person's going to give because they're getting, and it's just such a better flow than waiting and hoping for the other person to give you something without even beginning to give to them. And I really, if I look at my grandparents, and thank God my grandma's still, young as all can be, like young spirited. Both of my grandparents stayed very young spirited, and same as the other side. They were in a marriage that per se could make no sense. My grandpa was this sweet, cute, quiet man who was very soft spoken but brilliant and spent most of his life in his office in the house, and we would go and we'd say hi, and he was just so sweet. And my grandma is a firecracker, socialite, party animal, adventurer, like opposites, right? And we can get caught up in being like, oh, so, maybe we're not a match because you're not as social, or or adventurous as I am. But my grandparents, first of all, gave to each other in such beautiful ways. My grandpa wanted my grandma to be the happiest person in the planet, and vice versa. And they knew the bigger picture. They knew what they were doing all along. In 64 years of marriage, they kept it up. They knew what their mission was. I'm sure they got annoyed with each other. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but they were in constant giving, and they would zoom out and know the big picture. And that leads me to the third pillar of my grandpa's, you know, values in life, the most important things ever to him, which is family. And the cool thing for him is he meant family, right? Your blood family, of course. Like, he created everything for the family. Like, anything he did was so that we could all benefit from being together and loving each other, whether it was, exploring the world together, which we were so, so, so blessed to be able to do, or just coming together at certain times of the year. We say that his birthday in January around New Year's time, and all these holidays are happening then. Like, we would all come together, not for New Year's, not for, the Christmas time, but we would come together for his birthday, which was like our national holiday. And every year we threw these big parties, and it was so fun. And that was his biggest value. And I think that in the world we live in today, we can forget that, the importance of family. And we see the external life and the flashy things and the things we're running after as like what's important, when in the end of the day, what's the most important is the people who you wake up to every day, the people you come home to every night, the people who gave you life, the people who raised you, and the ones who you've been with since the beginning, siblings, parents, grandparents, cousins, kids, spouses. Like, this is what's most important. And if we forget that and we go out and just run our lives, and, either you can get caught up in business stuff and you work so many hours a day. And of course, you have to work. I'm not saying like stop, but remembering that there's an amount of turning off the outside world and tuning back into what really, really matters. And when I was presented Judaism later in life, because I grew up not having, the knowledge of Judaism, the first thing that I was taught was Shabbat, which to me really meant 25 hours, one full day pretty much, of family. And we said, disconnect from the world to connect with yourself and your loved ones. And it's about yourself and your family. And I saw that if I had that framework in my life, it would have made big, big differences, I think, in our own family unit. And just having that structure of time that you clearly turn off from the outside world. So in whatever capacity it is for you, having this ability to value your family, call your parents, call your grandparents, sit, have conversations, again, learn from them, ask them questions, send them love. Like, even just those little texts that I love you and thank you for everything you've done for me is so important. And on top of that, so family, 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 most important. My grandpa was also of the belief that friends are family, and you come in and join the family. Like, the family could never be too big, the more the merrier. So we really did have a lot of people in our life who were like family, and we'd call them aunts and uncles, and they were at the dinner table always. And it was very wholesome and loving. And I recently heard something that I actually shared at my grandpa's funeral that really reminds me of my grandparents. And it said that, if you're fortunate enough, you should build a longer table, not a higher fence. So rather than keeping people out, like, that's not the idea of family per se. It's welcoming people in, it's having an open door. And again, like, serving people who might not have as much as you do. And maybe people who don't have as much family as you do, and people who might be a little bit lonelier, like opening your door for those people and giving to those people and learning from those people. They might have something to share with you that could change your entire life, but really just having the emphasis be on loved ones. Let's put it that way, on people that you can love and give love to and receive love from. And, this past week, all of us coming together, celebrating him, you see the power that that has. He had hundreds of people like flying in from all over the country into probably the hardest airport to fly into to celebrate this man because he touched so many people. And this is why, 104 years was amazing, but it wasn't enough, but it'll last forever because he touched so many people. And this is kind of the recipe, I would say, that he gave me. And I'm going to share a few more that also I'm going to trickle in my grandma and the other side of the family. But these were his biggest three pillars. So I had to share them first with you guys. But the recipe to living such a fulfilled life that keeps you going. That's what we want. We want to feel like we're here and we're waking up every single day, which is going to lead me into the next one. Every single day as if it's a good day, as if it's a new day. It brings something amazing and sweet and exciting. And my grandpa felt like that up until 104. He felt like today is a good new day and what new possibilities can come my way today. And he actually had a sticker, and my grandma has it too. They had them all over the house, but I just remember my grandpa's office that said, "Today is a good day." It is so ridiculously simple, like almost silly to say, but what a way to live, and things come up in life and things happen and life isn't easy, like good doesn't mean easy. We too often mix those up and we think that a good life is an easy life. No, no, no. It's not meant to be easy. You're meant to be here and be challenged and grow and have to overcome obstacles and go through a challenge so then you can go help someone else through that challenge. Like good does not mean easy. It could be extremely challenging and still be unbelievably good. So my grandpa really lived, and my grandma, and thank God my family lives by today is a good day. And I would call him, say, "Grandpa, how are you doing today?" He goes, "Great. Today is a great day," and waking up with that, there's a beautiful Jewish prayer called Modeh that thanks, God, the universe, whatever word works best for you. But the first thing you say is, "Thank you for giving me this day," essentially. There's some nuances to it. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. But imagine waking up every day. I don't, whatever's happening at work or in relationship or no relationship right now, wherever you're at in life, and actually genuinely believing that today is a good day. That is the way that we should all live. It is such a miracle to wake up in the morning. It's unbelievably crazy to think of the amount of things that must happen in order for each day to happen. And to think like that and to love life like that will change everything. So, loving your life to the fullest is yet another amazing thing that my grandpa taught me, which then leads me to the idea of what is today. And there's a quote on my grandparents' fridge, let's say. They had this picture of my entire life that said, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. That's why they call it the present." I'm pretty sure I said that right. But to love life to the fullest is to recognize the gift of today and to cherish the gift of today and whatever it brings you. And my grandma always says that this too shall pass, which whatever you're handed today, and I like this too shall pass. It's such a beautiful saying because it goes for more challenging days. This too shall pass. If you're in a challenge right now, I am telling you, this too shall pass. A good day is coming. Not even a question in my mind. Not that today's a bad day because it's just a challenging day and to to face it with strength and vigor and say, how can I learn from this? How can I grow? Super important. But to recognize that this is just a moment in time, it shall pass. But then guess what? When the day presents itself, this beautiful gift called the present, that is amazing. And you're on top of the world and you've never been happier and everything's flowing and is great. This too shall pass. They say a healthy heart goes up and down. You never want to see it flatline. So you're going to have the highs and you're going to have the lows. So on the highs, stop and recognize it and appreciate it and smile with it and live with it and love it. It's at that beautiful present moment. On those down days, breathe. It's okay. It will pass. It is still today. It is still a beautiful day. It is still a gift. How can you show up? What can you learn today? What can you give to people? Maybe even just calling, your mom or your dad or your sibling and saying, I love you and putting a smile on their face. But recognizing that we are given this day. That's all we know. Can we live it to the fullest? Can we love it to the fullest? And compounding each of those amazing days into a long, incredible, God willing life, like my grandpa had of 104 years. Imagine how many days with huge smiles and joy he had. And I really think that's what kept him going. And just to expand kind of one ring farther, the idea of laughter and joy being our guiding light in life. And this is a huge part of my other side of the family, which I could go on and on and on about my grandparents on that side and their way of living life to the absolute fullest. But laughter, I would say, is like the biggest thing that buzzes through that house and both of my families. But laughter and joy and dancing and singing, and we forget we see that playfulness in life as kind of a childhood thing. Only when we're a child can we like run around in circles and laugh for no reason. It is so not true. And this is probably something that Jonathan has taught me the most is just the joy of life. And he wakes up and puts the music on first thing in the morning. And I'm like, okay, please, it's 7 a.m. Like, let my system turn on. But he's ready to enjoy the day and to laugh and to sing and to just take it all as it is and make it even better. And what a way to live. So this is very short, very quick. I would want to go on and on and on forever on this, but I want to keep it to the things that feel so relevant and I could go into each and every single one of those even more, but I want you guys to walk away from this quick little episode with just kind of like a little roadmap for how to live, God willing, an amazing long life. And I have had the blessing to see so if all of my grandparents, thank God, and celebrating this one who just passed recently and be able to learn from him. And so just to recap, focusing your efforts first and foremost on learning and growing every single day, getting something new from every day, choosing things that are outside of your comfort zone, not just things that are within your knowledge and your bubble, but also expanding who you are. And if we had people who are open minded enough and curious enough to learn from others, I think we would live in such a better world. So, growing, learning, and through conversations and through listening, super important. Giving to others who need in whatever capacity it is for you, but focusing your energy on making the world a better place, super important as well. Then family, whether it's chosen family or biological family, just accepting and loving them and giving them love and finding ways to bring the family together and just focusing on that. The most important thing in life is your loved ones. And then just this idea of how every single day is a gift and to find joy and laughter and love and light in every single day. The second you wake up, how you brush your teeth, how you make your bed, how you make your coffee, your breakfast, these things matter. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So bring joy into your life and watch how you're really going to start living a better life. And in the end of the day, joy is a magnet to miracles. So if you want to see miracles in your life, joy is the first place to start. So I hope you guys liked this little mini solo episode. It's just little advice that I've gotten and things that have been instilled in me that have really made a massive difference in my life. So I hope you can take it with you. And please always feel free to reach out. You know where to find me on Instagram, Levy by Remy, and let me know if any of these, stuck with you, if you have more thoughts on it. I'd love to chat with you guys. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope you liked it as much as we did. Now go send it to someone who needs to hear it, because we know that dating, relationships, marriage can be tough, but we want to make it less tough. And remember, you're allowed to hate your husband. Whatever you're feeling is allowed. So go send it to a friend, to your sister, your brother, maybe your boyfriend, a husband, whoever needs to hear this, send it to them. And while you're at it, click the follow button, click the review button. Always feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and we're so excited to see you in our next episode.